Alright, so today we're going to be making this animation just here. Alright, let's get into it. Open up a new set of Blender. We're going to delete the light. We're going to use the camera in the default cube. Alright, with the default cube we're going to push S, scale it down. And then we're going to push SX, scale it on the Z axis. Scale it on the X axis. Alright, so once we have this column, what we're going to do, we're going to push Control A and we're going to apply the scale. Alright, so what we're going to do next is we're going to chuck it on a wireframe modifier and thicken up a little bit and replace the original. We're going to hit unclick that and material offset by 1. Okay, so now we're going to go into edit mode and we're going to take the object origin. I'm just going to hit 1 and I'm going to grab it on the X on the X axis until the origin is all the way at the bottom, and come back into object mode. So the origin should be at the bottom just here, the timeline, and let's go into preferences and let's just make sure that animation, instead of Bezier, let's just make sure that it's in linear. And animation length, let's just give that 200. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to click T, so click N, or we're going to come across here and just click this little thing right here. And now on the X axis, let's rotate. For the scale, that's what we're going to be adjusting here. So the first frame, let's just insert a keyframe. Let's just click on this so the keyframes come up, and then let's go about 50th frame. Let's just scale that a bit. Right click, insert a keyframe, and then we're going to come across a bit, and then we're going to go scale it in. Let's insert a keyframe, and we'll just keep doing this. Let's see how that looks. Maybe this last frame here, let's just maybe give it a frame of 1 so that way it loops perfectly. And we'll just test out this. Yeah, see that? The first frame and the last frame have the exact same value, and we want to go to 201 so that there's not a duplicate frame. Nice. Okay. So now that we have this, let's just down here, let's just go into the graph editor. Let's just open this up. Alright, in here, what we want to do, we want to come down here, go into the x-axis, come over here, or push N. Going to go down to modifiers, and we're going to hit cycle. And what it's going to do is that the keyframes we've entered, it's going to repeat them forever. And this is going to be important for when we make the other models. Alright, so this model now has our animation. Let's just click on it. Let's just give it a material. The base material is going to be a metallic all the way. And then the roughness, we're going to bring that down to 0. And then we're going to make that just black. So that's going to be the base material. And then we're going to give it one more material. And this is going to be for the wireframe, because we gave the wireframe an offset of 1. We're going to make this an emitter. So down into the surface, we're going to make that an emission. And you make that whatever color you want. I'm going to give it a strength of 5. If you go down to rendered, you'll get that. Your wireframe will be one color, which will be the second color, and then your base color will be the first one. Alright, so now what you want to do is that you want to duplicate this, so Control D, Shift D, and then we're going to bring it across, and then we're going to just repeat that Shift R 4 times. So now we should have these 4 boxes, animating. Now the cool thing about this now is because we put the cycles down here, is that we're gonna leave the first one as it is, and we're gonna do the second one. Now we're just gonna grab all these keyframes, and we're gonna hit G for grab, and then X because we're gonna move them along the X-axis, and we're just gonna shift it a little bit, and then we're gonna repeat this. You're gonna get this nice offset. All right, so now easy thing to do is now we want these different colors. So just click on the first one. We're gonna leave the first one. We'll just go to the second one, and now let's click the material. You can't just change that because they've got they're sharing all the same material. So we're gonna come down to here. This is to copy it. So we're gonna copy it, and then we're gonna just change the color, and then we're gonna repeat that. All right, so now we should have 4 different particles. All right, so now this is going to be in one collection. I'm just going to take the camera out of that. Yeah. So you want the particles that you're going to use in one collection. Actually, if you want to, you can go into the particles in edit mode, and if you just push Control R and add edge loops, this will decorate it in just different ways and just make each one stand out a bit. So now you have a wireframe along these axes. All right, so I'm going to make a new collection. I'm going to put the camera in that one, and then I'm going to close this one off, and I'm just going to close that one, and then we're going to make sure we're in collection 2, and we're going to push Shift A. We're going to throw in a cylinder. Just get out of rendered. All right, so in the in the vertex, we're just going to give that a value of 6, and then we're going to just rotate that along the X by just 90. Let's make that the Y. There we are. Okay. Now it doesn't really matter like how big it is or the shape of it. So I'm going to go in to edit mode. We'll hit 3. We'll come up here to the faces, and we want to hit either face, and then just X and just delete the faces, just like that. All right. So I'm just going to scale this along the X. Bring that out quite a bit. And then I'm going to hit 3, 1, I'm going to hit 1, and then hit G and X, and then just bring this along until that's matched, until the edge of that is matched up. There we are, and then this is going to be the first section of our tunnel. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to select the object and we're going to give it a particle system. So it's just plus on the particle system. Now we're going to give it an emission, and then we're going to come down to life, and we're going to give it a -1. And in the end, we're going to give it -1. And that's pretty much just going to hit pause on any animation that the particle is going to give it. The lifetime, that's just, let's make that 1,000. And the number, maybe 2,000. Yeah, right. Alright, so now down to physics, we want to give that none. So nothing's going to happen when we hit play. And that's what we want. And then instead of halo, down in render, so you can open up render, and then down in halo, we're going to go collection, and we're going to select the collection we made earlier. So that's collection 1. And now we have all our little particles we made earlier. And now all we need to do is just hit object rotation. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to lower this down to 1000. That looks pretty good. And then in collection, down in scale, let's just give it a scale of, and just until it looks good. Alright, so we're nearly done. All we're going to do is we're going to apply a texture to the outside. So let's just select that material and let's just give it this, if we come down to that material library, let's just give it the same material as we did with the particles. Alright, so now if we click everything and then we just right click on it, and we're going to go to move to collection, new collection. Collection 3, that's fine. Pretty small. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to hit 1, and then we're just going to put a few of these. So we're going to go Control A, no sorry, Shift A, and then we're going to go Collection Instance, and then Collection 3. And then we're going to just move it on the x-axis until it lines up. And then we're just going to repeat this. Alright, so now what we're going to do, we're going to animate the camera so it starts over here. And then we're going to bring it all the way to over here. And then because these two cylinders are exactly the same, it's going to loop perfectly. Alright, so now with the camera, over in rotation, we're just going to zero out everything. And because we've built everything around the world's origin, it's going to be pretty easy just to send it straight through the camera. Alright, so now I'm just going to rotate this so it's pointing down the tunnel. So I'm just going to give that, I'm going to give the X value 90, and I'm going to give the Y, and give the Z the value of -90, and then the Y value nothing. Alright. So that's pretty much exactly what we want. And now that's perfectly at the start. So I'm just going to hit 1. And now I'm just going to hit up here in our tabs. I'm just going to hit this one, will make everything transparent. And I'm just going to turn off the middle instance. So frame 1. Under location, we're going to go to frame 1, and then in the x-axis, we're just going to insert a keyframe, and then we're going to go all the way to 201, and then we're just going to move it, so GX, move it all the way so that that dot lines up with the edge of the structure. And let's just insert a keyframe. Alright, so if I turn this back on and we go down a little bit, now that should perfectly loop. Any hassle. Nice. Okay, so now all we need to do is just, if we go into rendered mode, And I'm just going to chuck on bloom. This is the preview. So that's it.